He comes from Sweden, the girls are very nice. He left his girlfriend to play in red and white. He's scoring goals with the cannon on his chest. His name is Victor. Victor Jokeres. Do, 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 do. Welcome back to JXCFC as always. Big up to everyone who's been interacting with the channel, liking the vids, subscribing, and letting me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And it's that time of the week, as always, that time of the day. Match reaction: Inter Milan won, Arsenal 3, and that was a very good performance from the lads. And as I can see, I was singing the Victor Gyökeres chant, and I'm shameless for doing that because just a few weeks ago, I had said that I sold my Victor Gyökeres stocks. But regardless of the situation, he's a striker that I wanted, and I'm still gonna back him when he does well. So hopefully he continues to go scoring goals, building up his form, and soon enough I might reinvest my stocks. But regardless of the situation, let's talk about the game because that was a very good performance. Not very good, but that was actually a good performance. That was a good performance from Arsenal today, especially in that first half. I feel like as soon as that first whistle went on, we we started popping it Inter from the get go, bro. Like we could have scored within the first 30 seconds, bro. It's as easy as that, bro. And obviously, uh, we got our first goal. I believe it was in the 10th minute. Gabi Jesus. That goal came from a very good phase of play. Obviously, we're just doing tiki taka, passing it nicely, pass and move, pass and move, pass and move. Great ball into the box. Timber touches it on. I believe the defender. It came off the defender, and then Gabi Jesus tapped it in for his first goal. And then a few minutes later, Inter actually scored an absolute banger. I feel like we fell asleep over there, especially Zubamendi, because when the ball comes back, Zubamendi goes and runs at the guy. I don't know the guy. I think it's Susic, the guy who scored. He sees the ball is going to him. He sees the ball is going to him. He runs at him and then he stops. And then just like that, the guy scores. That was an absolute belter from the Inter Milan midfielder. So great goal from there. That was a great goal from them. And I feel like after that, we Inter had us under the cosh a bit. They weren't really pressuring us that much. They created a few chances, but then I feel like they were quite wasteful. Obviously, there was a situation where they caught us on the transition. Lautaro Martinez, I believe it was like a two on two or 2-3, while they were on the attack. And I feel like Lautaro Martinez, he held the ball for too long because he could have either released it early to Marcus Thuram or he could have taken a shot early, but then he held on to the ball for too long. And then he obviously passed it to Marcus Thuram. And the guy just he shot it to flipping Pluto, bro. Don't know what he was thinking over there, but then regardless of the situation, we got our second goal off another corner. Corner again, ole ole. Trossard actually did well to keep the ball in play because the ball from Saka from the corner was a bit too high, but Trossard done well to stop the ball from going out for a goal kick. And Jesus gets his second goal. Big him up on that. That should give him confidence. That's 3 goals from him. That's 3 goals for him ever since coming back from his long-term injury. And then first half, I feel like it was a back and forth game. Inter on the attack, we were on the attack, and it was a decent game, especially in that first half. In terms of, I was an Arsenal fan, and I'm sure even as a neutral watching that game, it is a decent game for the neutral as well. And then in the second half, obviously, I feel like it was a bit more quiet than the first half. I feel like we started to control the ball a bit more compared to the first half. I think in the second half we were just like, yo, we'll just keep the ball. There's no need to go in for a third goal. We've qualified, and Inter weren't really. They didn't really have us under pressure, so we were like, bro, there's no need to force that third goal. So, and obviously, Victor Gyökeres came off the bench and got himself a lovely goal, bro. I mean, that first of all, let me talk about that ball from Martinelli, bro, because that Trivela pass was wicked, bro. He obviously triveled the ball to Gyökeres, and then Gyökeres passed it on to Saka. Saka miscontrolled it and laid it back for Gyökeres, and Gyökeres first time finish. Bro, big him up on that, bro, because that goal should give him a lot of confidence, because he doesn't really get a lot of chances being created for him and this team. So, however the chances come, he must take them. And today he did take the chance. So big him up on that. That was a very good goal. And going into the Man United game over the weekend on Sunday, I'm sure that goal will give him a lot of confidence going into that game because it's going to be a massive game. But in terms of the team, in terms of the players, I feel like the lineup, I was fine with the lineup. Obviously, I would have loved to see Ithwan Wanyery starting, but then the news came out today that he'll be heading to Olympic Marseille to join on loan. He'll be joining Robert De Zerbi's team out there in France, and he'll be linking up with man like Aubameyang out there in France. Obviously, he's a former Gunner, so he should do well out there in France. So, and apart from that, I didn't want to see Timber starting, but not too much to cry about on in that aspect because at least Mikel Arteta made the change in the second half and brought in Ben White, at least because I wasn't trying to see Timber getting injured. He's one of our most important players, but it's good to see that Arteta brought him off in that second half. And obviously, in terms of the rest of the team, Raya didn't really have much to do, I would say. He didn't really have much to do. Um, made there was a decent save he made from one of the Inter players when he came off the bench. That was when it was 2-1. I forget his name. But then Ryan made a very good stop. I believe it was, yes, Esposito. He made a decent save from Esposito in the second half. But apart from that, I don't really remember Raya having too much to deal with during the game. Obviously, Timber. I feel like that was Timber's. That was not one of Timber's best games, and the past few games he's looked a bit shaky. Obviously, he's been playing at left back in the last two Premier League games, and the last two games, obviously the Chelsea game and the Forest game over the weekend. And I feel like today as well, he looked a bit shaky. He was dwelling on the ball, dilly dallying on the ball a bit too much, bro. So, and I feel like he was getting caught out on the ball. And apart from that, I mean, not too much to criticize, not too much to cry about when it comes to Timber. Saliba and Mosquera, I think they were both good, especially Mosquera. Obviously, it's his first game in 7 weeks since coming back from injury, and I feel like he 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 put in a good shift today, and his partner Saliba did well today as well. Skelly, I think, better performance from him today. Got caught out a few times on transition when Inter were transitioning, but then I feel in terms of his overall play, he did very well. So big up Skelly for that. That should give him a lot of confidence. And in terms of the midfield, I feel like Zubimendi, I feel like in the first half he was getting Inter were running through him. Pause my days. Inter were bypassing the midfield a bit too much, especially Zubimendi. He was getting bullied off the ball, but I feel like as the game went on, he started to improve. And obviously, right next to him, Merino. I think Merino had a decent game. I feel like the thing with Merino is that he takes too much time. Like he's too slow on the ball. Like he gets the ball and it takes him like 50 million years to turn, but then he keeps it simple. That's what I like. He doesn't dilly dally like certain man, bro, on the ball. He doesn't. He's not out here taking 1 million touches. Like he gets the ball, takes him too long to turn, but then at least he lays it off. He keeps it simple. He passes it on to the next player. And I feel like in terms of his overall play, decent game from him. As a not a good performance today, and it's one of those ones where none of our number tens are really performing at the moment. So that's one of the reasons I would say I'm quite disappointed to see Ethan going out on loan because he's one of the players who can play in that position, and uh, the fact that the two guys ahead of him are not really playing well, I mean, it's quite disappointing. But in terms of Eze, I feel like obviously he's barely gotten game time over the last month basically, but then I feel like he didn't really cover himself in glory. I feel like he coming into the team today, you would have liked to see a better performance from him today. I would have liked to see him playing like he's got something to prove. Him being like, "Yo, listen, we got Man United over the weekend, and I'm gonna put in a good shift today, yeah, to make sure that Ateta chooses me over Odegaard over the weekend." I didn't see that from Eze today. He was in the first few minutes, in the first 10 minutes, he was playing well, moving the ball, tiki takaing, passing move, dribbling, creating chances. But then after that, yeah, I feel like the game just started to pass him, bro, because he was getting the ball, passing it, and passing it to the opponents. But like, what are you doing? Like, there was a situation in the box where Inter Inter had a few. They kept on shooting the ball. They had like a few shots in our box here, and then as a one of the shots, where I think it was blocked by one of the defenders. As he gets the ball, you can see Skelly is on the ground, cannot receive the ball, but he still passes it to him. Like, what we're doing there, Eze. But then, regardless of that, I mean, it didn't cost us today. But then, we need to see better performances from Eze, man. Like, he's a shadow of the player we saw at Crystal Palace. So, need improvements from him in terms of the front three. I feel like, let me start with Saka. Saka was all right today, better than I've seen in the last few weeks. But I feel like some of his decision making needs to improve. Especially there was a chance Gabi Jesus created for him back when it was, I believe it was 2-1 at that time. Gabi Jesus passed him in a through ball, and Saka took too many touches. And then Achebi caught him and sent the ball out for a corner. I feel like his decision making in front of goal over the last few this season actually has gone a bit down, but in terms of his overall play, he was all right. He was all right. Didn't do much, but he wasn't terrible today. That's what I will say. And he obviously got the assist for the Okeres goal because it came off him. Yeah, so big up Saka on that for the assist today. Looking at the other guy Trossard, um, wasn't good today. I wouldn't say so. He was all right actually. No, he was all right in the first half. I would say Trossard he was decent in the first half. Got himself in some decent positions, but then in some of his decision making in the final third wasn't good today. There was an opportunity where I can't remember. We were on the attack. Trossard could have cut in and shoot, but then he cut in and then started taking too many touches. Like he's learning from Odegaard. Like, what's going on, man? Like, this is what these guys are doing, man. Like, bro, they're moving too many touches, man. Like, what are we doing here, man? Like, what's going on? So, excuse me for that, but then just had to do it here. But yeah, I feel like Trossard, he was all right in the first half, but then he didn't really have a big impact on the game. Um, Obviously, he came off for Martinelli at some point during the game, and he should be ready for the weekend against Man United. And up front, Gabi Jesus, big him up for getting his 2 goals today. I feel like that should give him a lot of confidence. As I said earlier in the video, he's now gotten 3 goals since coming back from injury. But in terms of the substitutions, looking at Ben White, didn't really have much to do. Declan Rice didn't really have much to do as well. Obviously, he got himself booked, and he'll now be out for the Kairat game, which will be our last game during the league phase. Gabi Magales, not really much to do. Yokeres obviously got himself the goal, and Martinelli didn't really have much to do, but he obviously delivered a very good ball uh, in the that phase of attack that resulted in the Yokeres goal. So apart from that, big up to the team today. I feel like it was a decent performance today. We're now qualified. We are qualified for the last eight. I mean, we're looking at the table where obviously it's Bayern and other teams below us are here to play, but then we're 6 points ahead in the Champions League group stage. So we definitely cannot finish any lower than second from what it looks like. So big up the team for that. And we obviously move on to the next game against Man United over the weekend. And uh, bro, I want to see the same performance over the weekend, because it's funny how when certain man in the midfield are not playing, the team actually looks better. There's more fluidity in that midfield, but more on that later, as I always say, fam. And as always, big up to everyone who's been interacting with the channel. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure you let me know your thoughts on the game, your thoughts on the game. So big up everyone as always, and I'll see you lot in the next one.